Okay guys, here we are in round 2 of the Vintage Power 9 Challenge, and we have drawn a player whom I've never seen before, named Hrymfaxe, and we won the die roll, which is great. Now, we're playing against an unknown deck. I don't really know what's up here. The unfortunate thing is we don't really have a turn 1 play. So I think what I'm going to do is I think I'm just going to play out an Eldrazi Temple. Here's the thing. I think I'm going to actually play the Workshop here. Try and get a Sol Ring into play. If that doesn't work, I can play a Ravager. And if the Sol Ring does land, I got the Temple next turn. It's not a great hand, but it's got potential. I'd much rather have some spheres in my hand, but it's okay. And, you know, like if they wasteland my Workshop, okay, he's just let me go here. Oh, maybe not. Just slap this on a Black Lotus. And I mean, look, playing your Revoker like this is not ideal. But I feel like I need to do something on my first turn because my next 2 turns are likely going to be taken up. I guess not. I could have held it and played a Thought-Knots here next turn and a Revoker. Very realistic. So we're going to either see a Cantrip here or a Duress effect. Is my guess. Hopefully not a Dark Ritual into a Necro. I'd feel a little bit silly if that was the case, but Thoughtseize is actually a far better card. So what this pencils us into next turn is if we draw nothing but land, I feel like we need to play a Triskelion rather than just wastelanding. My hope is to draw a Sphere, or a Thorn specifically, or a Lodestone Golem, and I can play that and wasteland, which would be quite strong. That is not terrible because now I can wasteland. I'm going to see if this resolves first. And there's no reason not to play the Trike first. It doesn't matter because he knows my hand. This way, if he's got something like a Daze, I'm able to pay for it. You know, Daze is not a card we see often in Vintage, but may as well play around it. And you don't see a ton of Thoughtseize either, for that matter. Oh, Force of Will, okay. So, a little bit unfortunate because we don't have much going on now, but we can pretty much cast anything we draw. There's only one thing we want to avoid, and that's lands. And unless it's a wasteland and we're able to waste our opponent. Oh, we're playing against Oath. Okay. A cantrip here of some sort. Alright, a little bit scary. I was not anticipating seeing Oath here. Oath is definitely a matchup that we're afraid of. So we really are penciled into drawing something here. I think the ideal situation would be to rip a Thought-Knots here. Sadly, we've lost one here already. A Trike would also be solid. Spheres are solid. Let's see if he shuffles. And he did not. Okay, here we go, guys. Oh, what a brick. Huge brick. Oh boy. Alright. Probably facing down an Oath of Druids here this turn, unfortunately. Just not much we can do about it. Hopefully he doesn't have the Oath. And he does. Okay. I mean, Sphere Resistance isn't terrible here. It would have been much nicer last turn, because now we're facing down a Grizzlebrand, but... we've taken him off drawing 7 here for the turn anyways. Main deck Doc Vaden. Tangle Wire would be good. Thought-Knots here would be good. Triskelion would be good. We've got a lot of live hits here. Hangerback Walker is actually not bad either. Hopefully it resolves. Alright. So, I mean, we're still not in a great spot here, but at least drawing that Hangerback was pretty important. Because it now puts us in a position where we can race the Grizzlebrand. We're dealing 8 damage, and he's dealing 7 damage. So, that's something. What we're really looking here now for is an Arcabound Ravager. Because what the Ravager will do in this situation is allow me to sack my Hangerback Walker, block the Grizzlebrand with one of the flyers, sack the flyer before damage goes on the stack. So our opponent is doing something here. Okay, taking a damage to do it. Interesting. What would he be casting here? Is this a Wear Tear? Oh, that's a nice one. Okay, so that definitely helps him out, because now he doesn't have to contest with my Sphere. But now this will be another thing here, is if he's got another creature in his deck. Like if he only runs one Grizzlebrand. Oh, wow. We're playing Odd Oath here. That's what we're playing. What a beating this is. Hopefully it blows up my 2 of my tokens, and well, I was going to say, I don't really want him to kill any of my stuff, but I'd love to be able to get an Oath trigger. Our board is not great, but it's not terrible either against Oath. We do have cages. All right. We're going to see a pernicious deed here, perhaps. Oh man. Okay. So this is not good. Now, if our opponent is smart, he will only attack with the Grizzlebrand here, because what will happen is I will throw everything I've got in front of the Titan and the Hangerback, and I'll be getting some... well, it doesn't help much. I was going to say I'm going to get an opportunity to Oath, but it's really our only chance here. But, you know, he's now out of range for us to do anything serious against him, so... But let's see what happens. You know, you never know. Sometimes Oath opponents will mill you or mill themselves and kill themselves that way. Chose not to Oath, which is smart. Really, it doesn't matter either way here, but... One thing that's to take note of against Odd Oath is it's got a very fragile mana base to it. I think it literally runs the one basic. Skillian. So we just die here. All right. Well, we know what we're dealing with. Hrymfaxe are actually quite decent against him. Problem is we don't have a lot of space in our deck here. You know, this card is decent against Oath, but it's not phenomenal. The matchup just doesn't feel great. I was hoping to avoid Oath this tournament, but we're as ready as we can be for it, and I think it's a little worse that we're playing against the Odd Oath variant, because they have things like main deck Dak Faden, and they can run Ancient Grudges, which a lot of Oath decks don't run. Like, they don't run the red facet. So a little bit tougher, but certainly doable. I don't know how competent our opponent here is on the deck either. It was a really good hand. We'll definitely keep that. We just hope that first sphere resolves. And hopefully he does not have fast mana. What you hate to see against Oath of Druids is when your opponent has a Force of Will for your sphere, and then they drop a Mox Orchard into an Oath. It's just unbeatable when that happens. Very, very difficult to be able to take it down. Okay, so our opponent does have a Mox here, unfortunately. Hopefully it's not a Lotus. Opponent is quite a slow player as well. He is close to 7 minutes behind me here. I'd love this to be a Gataxian Probe. Okay, it is a Gataxian Probe, which is just great, because now he's buried underneath our sphere, and we're going to be able to resolve a second sphere. I mean, we could also cast a Triskelion here, but I would prefer to just keep him underneath spheres this game if we're able to. And I know I'm going to be able to resolve it here. What I'm going to likely do here is I'm probably going to follow this. I'm going to play a sphere here. It's a matter of whether I want to play the Sphere of Resistance or the Thorn of Amethyst. I think it's the Thorn. Next turn, I will probably end up tangle wiring. We'll see. I think that is the correct play, though. But there is something to be said to start going aggro on him here, because life matters. What would be a nice draw here would be a wasteland. Or a strip line. That would be probably our best draw. Interesting. Okay. So we're getting a Mox here. Hopefully not a Lotus. Love to see him probe me again. Oh man. So I think that our opponent here is a newer player. Yeah, you see he just gave us a token, and for no reason. And there's a wasteland, unfortunately, for our opponent here. I think I'm just going to trike him here and wasteland him. Because trike's going to put some pressure on him here. I was going to say, like, he's pretty much dead next turn. All right. It's a really awkward hand. Halfway on the thought knots here. We've got no control. Got the combo with Hangerback and Ravager here. Much better. Hopefully he just doesn't have to turn one oath. We just want him to play a land go. right. Uh-oh. Oh, boy. Mindbreak Chop would be so good right here. Alright. Well, the good news is he didn't get us with an orchard. Not perfect, but not terrible either. What we want to avoid here is an Ancient Grudge. Or, really, we want to avoid an orchard. Orchard is what's the scariest thing. Okay. So this could be a grudge. Or Nature's Claim. Okay. Not much I can do about that. Okay. Interesting. My opponent wants to force here. I'm not sure if he has a Force of Will, but or they could just be holding on to a grudge here, and I mean they can get both my Tangle Wire and my Spirit Resistance if they do have an Ancient Grudge. All right. Beg your pardon, excuse me. So I guess what we're looking for is a cage right now. And spheres. Okay. That would allow me to cast a Thought-Knot Seer, but I would turn on his Oath, which I cannot do. So I'm going to take his land here. I think his Mana Confluence is the land to take. Eldrazi Temple's not what we're looking for here. Part of me wonders if waiting to play Thought-Knot Seer first before the cage is the correct thing to do. I think it probably is. Rather than just blindly paying the cage out, I'm going to do that. I do go at risk of getting dressed. I think that's fine though. Because the combo of playing a Thought-Knot Seer first, my opponent's going to likely let it resolve in hopes that he is going to get an opportunity to Oath. And what I can do is I can take, hopefully he only has one piece of removal in his hand, which gets exiled. But of course this could be a huge disaster as well. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, so I can't quite cast it yet. Sadly, I'm losing my grip here on my opponent. Is this an Ancestral? Let's do Sabotage. Okay. I can live with that. So here's what I think I do. I mean, look, we're not winning a long game here. He's eventually going to draw into an Orchard. What we do here is I think we play a Thought-Knot Seer. We take whatever it is out of his hand that we're scared of. Like, you know, if he's got an Ancient Grudge, then we exile the Ancient Grudge. He's got 2, it's really bad for us, but I mean, we kind of have to go for it at some point. So I can't play the Sphere first, though, in order to Thought-Knot Seer. Yeah, I think we do it, guys. Let's see what we're dealing with here. Scary for sure, there's no doubt. Okay. Alright, nothing really scary here, guys. Duress. Force of Will. Probe. Winnow. Okay, so what do we worry about here? So, if I take that Force of Will out of his hand, now he is going to be able to dig through time at some point here. Now he's going to be able to dig next turn, if he so chooses to do so. I really think the Force of, like, do we want to get that dig though? Dig is devastatingly scary. The thing is though, if he digs, he has to do it. He doesn't actually have to do it right away. I think the Sphere effect, having a Sphere resistance, is quite strong. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I mean, he can just easily dig with that Lotus. It's no problem. I want him to have a Force of Will. Then again, I am coming in with a Thought-Knot Seer the following turn, and it costs him almost everything to do it. I think I'm going to take the Force of Will here. I mean, it's scary, but I'm going to do it. And hopefully I just draw a land next turn that I can cast Thought-Knot Seer off of. It's not perfect, but we've got the ball rolling here. But it'd be interesting to see whether our opponent chooses to Oath here. No. So what are we looking to draw here? I wouldn't mind drawing a Wasteland, so we can cast Thought-Knot Seer this turn, take the Dig Through Time out of his hand, or whatever it is he chooses to get. Eldrazi Temple would be okay to help us cast that, but the Wasteland obviously has better later implications. I would love to have a Tangle Wire. Triskelion would be good. Sphere would be good. Thorn. We really have a lot of great draws here. The only land we don't want is Mishra's Workshop. Take note of our opponent's clock here. He's got 4 minutes and 20 seconds left. Which is lots of times, if things go right for him here, and he's able to get one of his creatures out, he'll have plenty of time to finish the game. But at the pace he's been playing here, there's a chance that he may time out if we don't beat him first. And it's always nice to have that in your corner, the clock, in the sense if things do go backwards for me here, it is another contingent plan for us to win this match. I think we sequenced that last turn properly. It was high risk, but it had to be done. And ensuring we had that Sphere resistance in play, I think, was really important. It was hard not to take that Dig Through Time, knowing that, seeing 7 cards is pretty important on our opponent's side of things. But ensuring that Sphere in play once he cracks that Lotus is no small thing. I beg your pardon. Okay. Ask and you shall receive. Okay. Well, let's attack. Hopefully he didn't find a Force of Will. And he did, too. Okay. So that's a little bit scary for us here. He pitched Probe. Frustrating. That Dig Through Time is pretty scary right now. Yeah, he just went and got a creature off his oath so he could get more cards in his graveyard and dig. Which is smart. I mean, it's what he needs to do to win this. And he's messing up his mana here, which is, you know, the time this gentleman's killing off his clock is kind of scary here. Alright, hopefully he bricks, guys. What we don't want to see here is something like a Dak Faden come down. I guess Dak Faden's not the end-all be-all here. Obviously wouldn't be thrilled about it, but what we don't want to happen is our Grafdigger's Cage to get blown up, because that really changes the spectrum of the match. Let's hope he burns off another 30 seconds on his clock here on this turn. And he did find the grudge. Wow. Okay. Alright, guys. Well, let's hope we draw one off the top here. Really big brick there. Well, let's take that away. A little bit scary here, guys. Sadly, I think he's got enough time to do it, but we'll see. We want spells that are interactive here, and this is a great one. That was actually a really good draw for us. 2, 3, 4. A little scary here because if he gets Winnower here, yeah, he's just crushing us here. Take your time. What's the targeting here? All right. Well, the best part of this play here is that he's not F6'd. And we are wasting clock here. Well, he probably is going to get us here. Great. Okay. Every second counts here. Yeah, we're just not going to be able to get there, I don't think. What we need here is a wasteland or something like that.